solving problems, modeling it with concrete and visual representation, relating it to repeated addition and then to division. So when I look at something like this, I'm not sure how would the kids, how would you know their understanding of our outcomes through through a time test?
Yeah.
And when we look back at this article, 3 Steps to Mastering Multiplication Facts, it says first understand what fluency is.
Yeah, and I think that's the key right there.
That's the key. And when we go, I think what's happening here is we're testing for phase 3, which is mastery. But is it really mastery or is it memorization without the understanding of phase 1 and phase 2, where they're learning that it comes from equal groupings, it comes from arrays, and it's based on using known facts to help out with other unknown facts. So for example, I can figure out 9 times 3. If I know 3 times 3 is 9, that's 3 groups of 9, which gets me to 27. I'll show you that a little bit more. So that's where I have a little bit of
Don't you think also too, you know, when you're likening it to mastery in that phase 3 part, I also think that this is how we were taught what fluency was. We were fluent if we could do our math facts quickly.
Yes.
That's what fluency was. And I think some of us are still stuck in that mindset of this is fluency.
Yes.
And it's not.
No. And when you go to this book, which this is just an incredible book that has been shared with me, and I would just recommend to read it, is Visible Learning for Mathematics. That's what John Hattie really talks about, is the fluency is knowing the hows and the whys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what fluency is. So we can get to phase 3 and know that's mastery, but how are they understanding that?
Right.
So I don't have a problem with doing this, but then when you're assessing for a report card, I think we need to look at other means in which you are determining and assessing them on understanding when you come back to this.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been starting to do in my class is, you know, they have to show their understanding of a math fact, whatever we're working on, and showing it in a variety of different ways. So whether they're showing me skip counting, whether they're showing me the equal groups, whether they're showing me a related number fact, or or showing it on a number line. But by showing it in a variety of different ways, to me that shows kind of an understanding of that math fact.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and number lines are actually a great way to go, because as you said, if you want to do, you know, a number line in this sense, and you're doing 3 times 7, they can either make 3 hops of 7, and then they know that if this is 0, that's 7, that's 14, and that's 21. Number lines are actually a great strategy to use, and I think that would be my first step. Okay.
Yeah.
We also in grade 3, and I think prior to that, is understanding that commutative property, and that's a really important one, because if they know that 3 times 7 is 21, then automatically we go with 7 times 3 is 21.
Yeah.
And that actually comes from the understanding of those related facts
arrays.
through the commutative property comes through the arrays.
Yeah.
And then again, that can be developed very well through subitizing, as we talked about. But if I want students to know that, okay, if they know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, so this is a 3 by 7, and that gives you 21. But the commutative property, okay, those are related. Those are the same. They're just, that's exactly the same. You have 3 times 7 here and 7 times 3 here.
Yeah.
And then of course that leads for us into later years, later elementary years of finding the area of rectangles, realizing that you can have a different rectangle with the same area as well, right? But that's where we want them to be able to start as well.
Yes.
And then manipulate from there, right? They can understand that that 3 times 7 is actually, this is where, and if they're not understanding that 7 times 3, that's where they're 3 times 7, they can break that apart, right? If I know that 3 3 times 2 is 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
If 3 times 2 is 6, or 3 times 3, sorry. 3 times 3 is 9 on that one. Okay, so they have a 3 by 3. They have another 3 by 3, and some of them will break that apart as 9, and that's a 1 by 3. So then I have the 9, 18, and 21.
Yeah.
So they're using their known facts, because in grade 3 we have to just go to a 5 by 5.
Yeah.
Or 3 by 5, but those known facts then develop fluency with the other unknown facts as they get into times 7, times 8, times 9.
Yeah.
And that's what we want them to be able to do. Okay? So, you know, we have a variety of ways to do that again. They can, you know, show you that as well as even through writing. I mean, that's pictures. They can, you know, you can do it. I actually just saw something on Twitter, which I thought something manipulative. They can use, I mean, if you have little
Squares, yeah.
squares or
Yeah.
centicubes, but they can also use stickies.
Yes.
Okay, so they can use stickies that if you have I'll just do a quick, like a 2 by 2, or I'll do something a little bit different, because then if they have stickies too, this helps them. Okay, so they have a 2 by 3 here, right? Okay, a 2 by 3, which is 6. But you might get kids who really are not understanding that, right? So they can actually, if they can manipulate, and this is all that full understanding, and they go, well, I have a 2 by 2, that's 4, and I have a 1 by 2, and right, that's another 2, so that gives me 6, but that's where I get the 2 and the 1, okay, the 2 and the 1 from, or the 2 times 1. Because if you're working with 9 by 7, and kids are going, well, they're basing it on 5s are easy,
Yes,
right?
yeah, that's what I always tell
So
them.
that's what you want, and I
5s and
have
10s
right. So
are
obviously
what we-
they know that, and they just know another 2 is 18. They take the 40 and the 10, that's 60. 5 and 8 is 13. So they get their answer, right? They get their answer of 63.
Yeah.
And that's what we want them to be able to do. So yes, this is great, but then are you working on a certain thing of times 7, times 8, times 9? Have them circle 3 or 4 of these, and then they have to explain whether it's through pictures, through representations, whether it's concretely, pictorially.
Yeah.
To show that understanding of the symbolic.
Okay, I like it. Having them show in a variety of different ways their understanding of their math facts.
Because again, when you guys are moving forward, if they have this solid foundation, this understanding of their basic facts, when it comes to teen digits of 16 times 7, they're not gonna have a problem.
No. Yeah.
Because, well, 10 times 7 is 70, and 6 times 7 is 43, right?
Yep.
They're not gonna have that, and that's where we want it, again, building that fluency, and I think you made a really good point by the understanding of fluency. And it's the hows and the whys.
Yeah.
It's not just, knowing
Be
it.
quick.
Be quick, because that's what we were expected to do that.
Yeah, and I think we're still stuck with being quick is what is fluency.
Yes. And I think that that's
It's
unfair
an
to
understanding
be
of-
assessing students just on this, when our outcomes are asking for what are
more.
they at, their outcomes are asking for more. Well, those are my thoughts. And you can, sorry Mary, I've just interrupted you there, something else again, just for variety, right? Just for something, always something different to do. And I found these as well, and I mean, I would use colored construction paper, but I thought these were
To show their arrays.
there to show their arrays.
Yeah.
Right, just something different for them that they could actually just peel and stick.
Yeah.
And work together. And then even I thought too, if, for example, if they showed, I'll just do it on this and then I'll color, that's okay. Or you have that. So if I did, I thought, so they show me a, Because again, something that is really good for them, if they show me a 4x2, you could even have a highlighter and a color, and they can actually highlight or color the little arrays, the
right.
known facts within this fact, right? So if they saw it as a 1x4 and a 1x4, this could be pink and that could be green.
Yeah.
But they can also, you can say, is there another way to rearrange that? They can actually manipulate to show, again, that understanding of that commutative property, because again, that is so important, right? You don't only need a 2x4 or a 4x2, you can have a 2x4. And if you're working with different ones like 20, they can have a 5x4 or 10x2, right? And that's also good for them to do, is understanding that. Not, again, that goes with later grades about the rectangle and area.
Right.
That if you have an area of 20, your rectangle's not necessarily going to look the same, or your squares. So that's just another idea there, and for you to think about and do. So, or there is in this article that there's great games and activities to do in there too. And one of those is that matching, right? Is having those different arrays cut out, or how they need to, and you know that they're, you know, that's a 3x4, and it could be matched with a 6x2 though too, right? Or it could, or a 4x3, a 3x4 and a 4x3. So lots of different. This is a really wonderful article that I would recommend people to get a hold of and read. And like I said, really looking at what our curriculum is asking for and assessing students on those outcomes versus the timed facts. Because we also have to take into consideration that some students get nervous. And it's not a matter of them not understanding, it's a matter of them having that anxiety to that timed test. So
well, I like all those ideas for assessing math fluency.
Well, I'm glad, and you'll have to let me know how that goes if you try them. And it's always working with our team members, though, and working at what works best for kids and how to assess them and come up with those ideas, right?
Yeah.
But you could spearhead that and see if you can get that. So that's our video for today. We're coming to the end of that, and I'd like to thank Mary for her question. I think that's a very valuable question, and those are things that we need to look at when we are assessing students, and the fairness and the validity in terms of the curriculum. But I'm going to, again, there's just 2 books I'm going to recommend, and that's or a magazine that I subscribe to and have yearly for the last 4 years, is Teaching Children Mathematics from the NCTM. And there's also another great book that I just found absolutely fabulous and talks about that math and that number sense, Visible Learning for Mathematics by John Hattie. He seems to be coming to be a big name in the world of mathematics. So thank you everybody for watching and viewing, and if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me and look up at my math website, www.mathforsuccess.org.